They were healthy. Of course, they had no refined flours or sugars, and of course, no vegetable oils. No traditional population has vegetable oils. They're a product of the Industrial Revolution. So what was their omega-6? 0.6%. You won't get lower omega-6. This is critically and fundamentally important, and I'm going to hit this several times to drill this point home. Western diets, again, 7 to 12% since 1990 is where the world is. Next, let's talk about the Inuit, because they're carnivores. All right, their diet. Traditionally, seal meat and blubber, whale meat and blubber, caribou, reindeer, and then tiny, tiny amounts of vegetable food, usually typically just whortleberries and seaweed in their very short summer, all right? But they gorge on fat, and they're healthy, right? Just like this article says. They really were. So this is August and Marie Crow, scientists who won many honors for their work. In 1908, they completed an expedition on the diet metabolism of the so-called Eskimos of Greenland. I don't use the term Eskimos. That's considered pejorative today. This is what they said. The Eskimos are probably the most exquisitely carnivorous people and are surviving for long periods absolutely without vegetable food. They said the diet does not appear to have any injurious effects whatever upon the people. They did not find heart disease or cancer. They made no mention of that in their studies. So here's the diet. So they had lots of calories, 2,559 per day, 44% protein, 47% fat, 8% carbohydrate, half of which came from the glycogen in the freshly killed meat that they were eating. All right, so the high fat and high protein diet, obviously. All right, so then their study was followed by this man, Arctic explorer Vilhjalmur Stephenson. And Stephenson lived among the Inuit for 10 winters and 13 summers between 1906 and 1918. His goal, to find out did they have cancer, because it was said for decades that the Inuit, the Eskimos, did not have cancer. Stephenson finally published this book shortly before he died in 1960. And in this book, he wrote this. Cancer was not to be found among Eskimos who still lived native style. They could not find it. This was so convincing, the American Museum of Natural History even wrote this in 1914. Cancer is said not to be found among the Eskimos. So they didn't have heart disease, they didn't have cancer. And as far as we look clear to 1962 to 64, when they're still on their native traditional diet, diabetes affected 0.06% of Greenlanders. That's about 2 or 3 people out of 4,249. That's how rare it was on their native traditional diet. Okay? But again, they had no refined flours or sugars, 0 vegetable oils, right? What did that make their omega-6? 0.6%. Same amount of omega-6 percentage-wise as the Papua New Guineans of Tukasinta, who were consuming 3% of their diet as fat. Interesting, right? Okay, Western diets again, 7 to 12% omega-6 linoleic acid. All right, moving on.